I made Sussy Schoolgrounds, but it's RTX ON. And here's how I done did it. Sussy Schoolgrounds is made by PolyMars. Look, we're friends. It's not theft. It takes place in a playground where you must collect 8 bunches of bananas whilst being chased by a giant purple monkey. Yes, this is supposed to be a monkey. Good job, Jacob. The original game was made in Unity within an hour on a live stream by PolyMars, but I'm going to be taking much more time and I'm going to be using Unreal Engine to make it RTX ON. To begin with, I created a new first-person project in Unreal Engine 5. I spun the sun around to make the world dark. I took my first-person character and I put a spotlight right on the camera. And now we have a torch and we can wander around. For the environment, I wanted long, lush grass, so I yoinked this grass asset from the Quixel Megascans library. Using the grass image, I created a foliage system. And now I can paint my grass on the ground. Playing the game, it looks really good. I set the render distance of the grass really short because the torch can only see so far, and it helps out on performance. Now, PolyMars used this Unity asset of a playground, but I won't be using that because I'm no longer a Unity scrub. Only the best photoreal assets for my RTX remake, so I'll need to find high quality, expert, handmade assets. Free from Sketchfab. I got this fence asset and I tweaked it in Blender to make it wider to the closest meter. Then I brought it into Unreal Engine and I used it to section off where my playground would be. I found this selection of playground assets and I took the double swing, made it red to match the original game, and then I used the double swing to make a single swing. I did the same for this seesaw and this slide. The merry-go-round looks a bit different, but I actually like that it's yellow. The climbing frame / monkey bars in the original Sussy game was a bit more challenging. I had to do some actual modelling. It has rock climbing holds on the side, so I had to find an asset that also had rock climbing holds. So I kit bashed it together, and now I've got something that represents the climbing frame / monkey bars in the original game. The sandbox was no problem. Thank you, Sandbox. Love you, Sandbox. Looking at reference photos of the original Unity asset, I positioned all of my playground pieces in the appropriate positions. One thing I forgot is that I would need to generate collision meshes for each of the items. Never fear, Unreal is here. Unreal has a tool that will generate the collision meshes for your models. This includes convex models, so you can now go up the slide or under the slide, or you can jump through the swings. And with that, I made a pretty good Sussy Schoolground. For the collectible banana bunches, I had a really hard time. It's really hard to find a decent 3D bunch of bananas that doesn't cost money or is a kind of dodgy 3D scan. So I made one myself. I actually found a single banana on the Quixel Megascans library and I duplicated it to make a bunch of bananas. I gave one single banana per bunch a sphere collision for interaction. Then I positioned the bananas around the level in the exact same places as the original game. We're not trying to innovate here, we're just trying to make it look pretty. I wrote logic for the interaction that is effectively shoot a line trace 2.5 meters out from the camera, and if it collides with something, see if it's a banana, and if it is a banana, prompt the player to pick it up. Now for the tough part, the Sussy 3D model. I'm not really a character artist. I did want to use a pre-made monkey asset, but none of the monkeys I could find represented what Sussy really looks like. Sussy kind of looks like a teddy bear. So let's go with that. I found these images of the Sussy plush toy that PolyMars actually sells. So putting that into Blender, I blocked out the shape of Sussy. Then to smooth it out, I used the subdivide modifier, and then once I was happy with the shape, I tried generating hair on the model. Once I put hair on the model, I realized that the thickness of the fur throws off the proportions massively. So I realized if I wanted thick, luscious fur on my Sussy, I had to make Sussy skinny. And I made this horrible abomination, but once I generated fur on top of that, it looked alright. The fur does cause a lot of problems though. Mixamo doesn't understand fur, so Mixamo couldn't rig it. So I had to rig it. I've never rigged a character before, let alone a character with fur. I yoinked the Mixamo skeleton and I took it apart and I positioned it on our Sussy. I tried to auto-generate weights in Blender. The fur wasn't close enough to the bones sometimes to attach properly, so I had to weight paint the fur. So I learnt weight painting, and weight painting, ladies and gentlemen, sucks. Weight painting Sussy Wussy involved putting Sussy in all sorts of Kama Sutra yoga positions and then correcting the fur bit by bit. Eventually, I was happy with the result. I'm not supposed to give my personal opinion, but I think Sussy looks dope. Now it's time to animate Sussy. I took the opportunity to learn Unreal Engine 5's control rig. Control rig basically puts handles on a skeletal mesh so you can grab and drag the arms and limbs. So now with my control rig, I could easily position the character how I wanted. In an empty level, I used Unreal Engine 5 sequencer to create a walking animation. I lent into the idea that Sussy kind of looks like a teddy bear and gave him a very teddy bear-esque walk instead of this crackhead looking thing. I put our animated character in the level with a walking animation just to have a look, and I think it looks great. Time for AI. We need Sussy to chase the player and avoid obstacles. So I used a nav mesh volume to generate the walkable area for Sussy. The walkable area is actually defined by a character capsule. The size of the capsule pretty much denotes where the character can and can't go if they can fit in places. So Sussy won't be able to walk through the swings or under the slide. AI wise, I didn't really use anything fancy like behavior trees or anything. I just set it so that the character walks towards the player, just like the original game. The player actually walks a bit faster than Sussy, and in practice this works alright because Sussy is always going to be taking a beeline for you. But if Sussy gets close, we need a jump scare. So I put a collision box on Sussy's front, and now when the player is close enough and Sussy is facing the player, their camera will turn around to look at Sussy's face. And that's our jump scare. I need to fix up the game loop, so the objective of the game is to collect all 8 bananas, and that's how you defeat Sussy. So now when you collect all 8 bananas, you'll be greeted by this screen that says you defeated Sussy Wussy, complete with the typos from the original game. I'm a bit of a Sussy Schoolgrounds connoisseur, I'll have you know. I also made this start menu with a glammed up logo for the new Sussy Wussy RTX game, and I actually added some options to turn off the grass and turn off the fur, so your PC doesn't combust. But the game is currently silent, so we need sound effects. I used voice mod with a low pitch to create Sussy's voice, and of course I recorded the famous Sussy Wussy line.
Sussy wants a snack.
I took 4 different takes for variation and I put them in a loop. Then I had to record a sound for when he catches you, and here's what I came up with. I also found some royalty-free ambient spooky noise, and putting it all together, here's what we have.
Sussy wants a snack.
The whole Unreal Engine project file, models and all, is on my Ko-Fi, but you can play the game free on itch.io. Subscribe then!